Other types of clues from the syntactic structure involve figuring out, well, honestly, it means it's the syntactic structure itself that's giving you the clue as to the word meaning. That's the simplest way to think about it. And, once children have identified some syntactic categories, which we think is starting to really occur after 14 months, they can use the structure, how words are appearing together, to figure out what category of word that is, so therefore what type of thing it tends to refer to. So for example, in this case, those are goblins. If that, by 14 months, if children figure out that this is a frame where the word that comes afterward seems to be a noun type thing, or perhaps more, it seems to be something that often refers to an object, maybe more what they're thinking. And so then therefore when they hear this, those are daxes, for example, if they don't know the word, it's equivalent to us in hearing a novel word, then you think, oh, it must be referring to something about the object in this picture, right? So that's the kind of thing we talk about when using the syntactic structure, the linguistic context specifically, to tell you what type of word and therefore what type of meaning that word is likely to have. And there's lots of examples of children being able to use syntactic structure, some of which are covered in this lovely LinkSpace video right here. But what I want to walk through right now is one of the classic examples from 1957, where they had this picture of some hands playing with some confetti-like substance in a bowl, and they described the action as, look, he's sebbing, right? I mean, seb is a novel word, you know what that means, but here's the reasoning process. Right, so sebbing, he's sebbing, this is a frame that you only ever see with verbs. He's running, he's touching, he's hugging, he's kicking, he's sebbing. So you're like, okay, it's some kind of verby thing. Verbs tend to be actions. You're probably talking about whatever action these hands are doing to this confetti stuff, right? That's an example of using syntactic structure. Versus if you say, look, a seb, well, this kind of frame, you're looking for a single, because means one, object. Look, a goblin, look, a penguin, look, a bowl, look, a seb. Oh, well, there's only one single sort of countable object here, and that's the bowl. So you think based on this syntactic structure, it means the bowl. Look, some seb. Okay, so this is the kind of frame that you see with substances like glitter or rice. Look, some rice, look, some glitter, look, some seb, look, some confetti. Right? And so based off this frame, then you think, oh, I must be looking for some stuff. And this is the stuff in this picture, right? It's the confetti stuff. So this is what it means to use the syntactic structure. And there's lots of evidence that young children are capable of doing this. So 23-month-olds are able to do the same thing. So if you see, for example, an apple and these little arrows are meant to mean that it's bouncing up and down, so it's moving, right? It's doing some kind of action. And you say, look, it dazes. Well, dazes with that little s, especially in the third person, is a signal that this is a verby type thing. And if you're able to use the syntactic structure, you should figure out that you're talking about the action that that apple is doing rather than the apple itself, which is exactly what 23-month-olds are doing. Versus if you say, look, a daze, oh, you're looking for a single countable thing, which is going to be the apple here, and that's exactly what 23-month-olds figure out. And in fact, 27-month-olds can use adverbs like slowly to focus on the parts of the observed event that matter. So if you say it's going to pilk slowly, and they know the word slowly, they know the frame it's gonna, once again, they're able to use this frame to figure out, this must be talking about the action. And in fact, I'm going to expect that action to happen slowly. And 2-year-olds can also use the word surrounding a verb to determine exactly what kind of action it encodes. So in this case, if you have this fellow who's bowing over and spinning a top, and you say, I'm daxing my toy, the I'm verbing my toy, right? That kind of frame. If children are able to use that syntactic frame, they realize this is supposed to be a verb, the kind of thing that goes here is an action, then they look at the spinning action. Versus if you change it ever so slightly, I'm daxing to my toy. Well, the blank to my toy, that's a different type of action. That's an action that's going to be some sort of directional thing happening towards the toy, which is not going to be the spinning, which is happening directly to the toy, but rather the action that's happening towards the toy, which is the bowing in this case. So very small and subtle differences in structure are detectable by 2-year-olds. And in fact, they use them again to zero in on what part of the scene this novel verb is likely to refer to. And in fact, we can go even younger. At 18-month-olds, 1.5, they can use the word and word parts surrounding it to determine what kind of action it's encoding. So this it's-ing frame is something that 18-month-olds can pick up on. So if you show them this and you say, look, it's pratching. Well, the it's-ing is a frame that 18-month-olds have figured out means that kind of action word. This must be an action word. So they're looking towards the action. They're looking towards the verb information. And again, with 18-month-olds, there's a 2017 study that says you can also use determiners like the. So can you see the ball to figure out the word should have a referent and so be a noun, right? Can you see the ball? And this sensitivity is already present actually at 12 months old. So when you can you see the whatever, 12-month-olds even have started to figure out that you're looking for an object and you're looking for a single salient object in context.